Friends, Brian here for the Aging Lifter, and today I want to talk about something just a little bit different. We're going to call these episodes on my channel Steroids in Film. Because let's face it, that's what you guys want to talk about, steroids. So the first film I'm going to talk, because I am a film connoisseur, I want to take you guys back to the year 1993. 1993, what was going on in 1993? Well, grunge music was at its peak. Waco standoff was going on with David Koresh. And let me tell you guys, Beverly Hills 90210 was probably the top TV show. And fashion in that time was nothing to write home about. Almost as embarrassing as the 70s. But anyway, I had just turned 20 years old. And there were commercials for this movie called The Program. Now, having played football, really liked football, this was pre-enhancement years for me. Been training for many years. The movie The Program is about football, college football team, United States, starring James Caan, who's in a lot of big movies. He was in the Godfather movies. Craig Schaefer, probably most famous for being in A River Runs Through It. There's someone who hates my YouTube channel already shooting at me. Christy Swanson, who went on to star in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But most importantly, in this movie, who I really thought stole the movie with the portrayal of Steve Lattimer, was an actor by the name of Andrew Bryniarski. Now, I was aware of him at the time because you'd read a little bit about him in the muscle mags. He competed in bodybuilding a little bit. I think Andrew was from Philadelphia. His first movie role was in a movie, kind of a forgettable movie called Hudson Hawk, starring Bruce Willis. And Andrew Bryniarski went on. A lot of people might know him as Leatherface in the more recent Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. But he, to me, stole the show with his portrayal of Steve Lattimer, who was a defensive lineman. Steve Lattimer was a guy, apparently, who was on special teams for a few years, couldn't get the break. Then over a summer, if I remember correctly, he puts on like 30 pounds. And he comes back in September looking very different. He's jacked, he's huge, quite strong. One of the most famous and laughable lines in the movie is when the coaches are having a debate. Lattimer's in the weight room. You know, I gotta say, nothing against Andrew Bryniarski, who's a very strong guy. I don't believe he was doing standing reps with 315 on the military press like this.
Shit, Lattimer's an animal all of a sudden.
But while he's working out in the gym, the coaches are noticing the changes in him. And the head coach, James Caan, says, well, guys, it's not that hard to put on 30 pounds over the summer if you hit the gym real hard.
He's gotta be on something. Steroids.
NC2A has a testing program for this kind of thing. I suggest we let them handle it. And it's not that hard to gain 35 pounds over summer if you hit the gym real hard.
Okay, whatever. But anyway, it's his portrayal when you really... I love this movie and I love the parts of that. Of course, there's some typical cheese in a football movie or whatever, like the alcoholic quarterback who doesn't live up to his dad's expectations and all this other stuff. But really, when you focus on Steve Lattimer, and at the time, so he goes out, he becomes a destroying machine on the field.
Hands off to Garrick.
You know, it shows him acting up, you know, doing some crazy stuff. When he finds out that he makes the starting team, he goes out and puts his head through the windshields of some vehicles in the parking lot.
Yeah! 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 Make sure you tell Lattimer that the NCAA will be testing on Saturday. Yeah, baby! Starting defense!
Kind of a little bit perpetuating some steroid myths at the time. But, you know, anyone who has had some concussions knows that you probably want to not do things like that because, hey, you don't want to scramble the eggs up top too much. So he's on the field, he's kicking ass, he's doing great. And this scene caused a lot of issues at the time. It was very controversial. I think they even talked about it in Oprah Winfrey. I don't quote me, but from what I remember, there's a scene where he's at a party upstairs with a woman, and she's not going along with what he wants. So basically it's a scene of attempted rape. She's refusing, and he goes into a roid rage.
Wait, I think we better get back downstairs.
So we're just getting to know each other.
No, I better go. Hey!
Come up here.
Wait, what are you doing?
The coaches step in to save his ass with his behavior, but they say you got to get off the steroids. We're going to tell him that you strained a hamstring. So, to his credit, you know, this was not an easy role to play for an actor. I thought, you know, so he comes back, he's out, has a suspension, he's out so many games. The coach suspends him, but he comes back. To his credit, to me it looks like Andrew Bryniarski, actually, to play the character, he actually went off cycle for so long, and he comes back on the field, and he's just, I don't want to ruin the movie for you guys if you haven't seen it, but he's just not the same.
Georgia Tech over the ball. Tom calling signals. 8-1-8! 8-1-8! Calling signals. Turns, hands to Thigpen, straight ahead off right tackle. Lattimer meets him at the goal line. Thigpen pulls his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa.
And you can tell by looking at him and his physique, he's gone off cycle. Like, he really put a lot into playing this role. And we're talking about steroids in 1993, like pure balls. Absolute pure balls to play this. Because he, you know, he could have been typecast. Now, is Andrew Bryniarski on the same level as an actor as Craig Schaefer and James Caan? I don't know, but I thought he did a heck of a job playing this movie. So when he's told to kick the steroids, he goes out, he starts flushing everything down the toilet, and he legitimately tries to play without being on steroids, but he gets run over. He's not what he was. I thought he did a great job playing that. And then in the end, he, which was probably going on a lot in the NCAA at that time, he used some tactics to get to go back on to get around the testing.
What's this doing again?
Just taking the dope urine out of your bladder and putting it clean back in. Call it an oil change.
We are gonna get it done today!
And he comes back and he's a total wrecking machine again.
We're gonna ring the bell today!
But he doesn't fool the coaches. I just thought for that movie, he did an incredible job. Andrew Bryniarski was the highlight of that movie as far as I'm concerned. It was a great job. So if you want to see a movie where there are steroids on film and they really talk about it, I really liked the movie with Andrew Bryniarski. And I thought he did a great job. Pure balls. Pure frickin' balls. I'm looking at this guy in 93 going, pure balls. Pure frickin' balls to play this role back in the 90s. So if you guys want to check out a really good movie, The Program, it's awesome. A little bit of cheese in there too, but it's a heck of an entertaining movie. And if you're into working out and steroids, I mean, before I took the plunge, I watched this movie many, many times. It was a great movie. And my hat's off to Andrew Bryniarski. He was the star of that movie. Check it out. Steroids on Film, our first episode. The Program, 1993. Remember, friends don't let friends go catabolic. We'll see you next time.